How to wire Cat 6. Get yourself one of these Carlton wall plates. Oh yeah, not Carlton. Carlin. They have holes here where you put pencil marks, and then draw a straight line for those pencil marks on your drywall, and then using either a box cutter or a drywall cutter, cut out a nice and clean piece of drywall. For consistency, measure how high your outlets are. Put the plug at the same height that your outlets are for a good clean look. It's not just enough to get the Carlin, but you're also going to need the Cat 6 jack. And it has to be a Cat 6 jack, not Cat 5e. It won't have the same speed capacity as Cat 5e. You will see it has these funny looking triangles. They correspond to a wiring scheme. You can go with Type A or with Type B. Type A is backwards compatible with a phone jack. Type B is a standard industrial for networking. If you have phone jacks in your system, then you're going to want to go with A. Wire it so that it corresponds with the chart. So you see this triangle, this square here, it's got a green and a white. For B, that's where the green and white wire will go. Then you got this green square back here, that means a green wire goes there. So on and so forth. And down here, still want to go with B, so orange goes here. Orange-white goes here. Blue-white here, and then blue. It's got a blue square. The white and brown and the blue and white don't change for either Type A or Type B. The goods start here on this half. When you wire it, you want to use this plunger to push down and push that wire all the way down in there. Don't just leave them hanging. Trim them back as far as possible with scissors or wire cutters or whatever you can find. Grab that wall plate and it just sort of snaps in there. Also, don't forget about the dust shield to keep this clean. You clip it onto the cable and then it clamps down on all your connections here. Just like that. You can bring it now back. The second biggest pain in the ass in this project is routing cable behind the wall. Now, the easiest way I've found to drill a hole in just the right location is to cut out the drywall first and then use a really long drill bit that's flexible, and you can sort of just get it in there from this angle and it will drill through the subfloor down into your basement. For staples, you're going to want these low-volt staples right here. They're special because they are rounded where the cable is, so that it doesn't damage it as you staple it into the wall. For cable, I've got... This is pretty much the cheapest I could find. It was about $32 on Newegg. And it works fine. I'm quite happy with the cable. Anyways, that's how it turned out. Me drilling took several tries to get it. Wasn't exactly easy. But yeah, then you route the cable, you route it along, and you just staple it. Just enough to secure it. So, once you get it close enough to your router, I would say leave like several feet of lead cable, or slack I should say, because the biggest pain in the ass in doing networking is crimping these connectors. My God, is it a pain in the ass. And I always screw this up, so leave yourself plenty of slack, because your chances are you're going to screw up. You're going to need to snip it off and do it again. Anyways, so I've got the router here. I've got it plugged into my Verizon box, and that comes out of here. This is where the internet comes from. I've got this crappy yellow cable. I'll have to replace it because it's definitely not Cat 6. And that's going to my router, and this is where I plug that jack into. Here's my staple gun, by the way. It's an NSG-301 low voltage staple gun. Alright, for this next part, I'm going to show you how to crimp a Cat6 connector to the cable. And it is really my sincerest wish that there was an easier way to do this, because this is a huge pain in the ass. This is the #1 pain in the ass about doing home networking. So once you've picked a scheme, either A or B, you gotta stick with it. So I've gone with B, and that's the story I'm sticking with. This is, by the way, what I bought for the connectors. I'm gonna have this handy chart right here, because I'm gonna need it. Alright, it came with, obviously, Cat6 connectors. It also came with these doohickeys here that are going to be slipped over the wires. So, although the crimping tool I got from Home Depot does have a wire stripper, I found that it cuts just a little too deep and nicks the wire. So I stripped the jacket with scissors. I just create a little nick here, and then I separated it out. Don't really need to strip it too much, or if you do, well, it's easier to work with the more you strip. You're just gonna need to cut back the wires later. Alright, let's get rid of the jacket. Separate out the twisted pairs. You've got this plastic core here to give the cable strength. I'm gonna clip that. Alright, now comes the fun part. Let's separate it out. I'm gonna follow chart B here. So we got orange and white. So undo all the twisted pairs. Straighten out the wires as best as you can. With that, let's follow the chart. We're gonna do white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, blue, white. Kind of just pinch the wires in your fingers here as you're organizing them. Green, white, brown, and brown. Let's try to bring them as close together as possible now. Alright, once you've got it pretty much kind of straight like this, now is a good time to double check one more time. Alright, that's looking good. Now I'm going to snip these wires to give them all the same exact lengths before I slip on this cover here. You can see this, it's got this little upward wedge. The upward wedge is gonna face up. We're gonna slip it over him. Give it a snip. Alright. Don't let go of the wires at this point. We are in too deep. Let's put the sleeve right over him. Alright. Wow, I did that first try. Pretty good job. Let's confirm the wire order one more time. Okay, before we crimp, actually, I think this might be a little bit too long. Yeah, I'm gonna have to trim it back a little further. That's okay. Alright. Before we crimp, we have to make absolutely certain that every single wire is touching the end of the sleeve. We can tell it in two ways. One, we can see here from the top that they're pretty much at the same distance. We also look from the top. Ah, that's where I would screw up. If I crimp it right now, that blue wire, actually several wires, are not in all the way. So let's try to make sure that they're in all the way, or else I'm gonna have a bad day. I'm gonna curse when this doesn't work. I think that's pretty reasonable. Alright, at this point, I think it's okay to slip this over with a tab facing down with the wedge up. You can sort of tell here inside where the wedge will wind up going. Slip it over. Got it in there. Now we gotta shove it all the way through. Oh, I fucked it up. I fucked it up. This is why I hate this. This is why I absolutely hate this. Why? Round 2. Bite. Because once we crimp, there are little spikes there that are gonna pierce the jackets of the wires and make the connection. Alright, let's make it happen. So we're gonna want 8-pole, of course. Insert it in. And crimp. Once, twice, 3 times. You can sort of see what's going on as this thing crimps. You see those bars, they go in and they push the contacts in so that they stab the wires. And that is how you crimp. This is how you make a cable. Let's find out if it works. And just for reference, I've been filming for 12 minutes. I hate this. And I get to do it all over again on the other side. Alright, that's done. Literally only took a mere 20 minutes. And of course I don't have a cable tester, so it's gonna be my computer that's going to test the cable for me. I'm gonna plug in. Yeah, we got lights. And it's transmitting data, it works. Yeah, so that's how you crimp the cable while you're down there in the basement or wherever you are. Honestly, it begs the question whether it's more beneficial to just buy a pre-made cable, just measure out the exact length you need, and just buy a cable with the connectors already attached to it, because I don't know if it's worth it trying to crimp it yourself. I'm not saying I'm good at it. Maybe with some practice I'll get okay. You might have noticed before that I was trying to hook up my network to this TP-Link unmanaged switch, and I don't think that's gonna work, because I was having the internet go to here and then route it through all these cables to a wireless router upstairs, so that didn't work. I was able to like connect one computer at a time, but then the second another computer connected to the wireless internet, it booted everything else off. So there was some kind of weird IP address mismanagement. So I put the main router down here, and it works okay, but because the signal is weak, I got a second router for upstairs, which I'm going to show you how to set up. Alright, so I'm up here with the second wireless router. It's not connected to the downstairs router just yet. I'm going to set it up first. So I'm connected through it. Just type in 192.168.1.1 if it's a Netgear router. If it's a different brand, it could be different. I'm going to set this up myself. Yes. I'm going to go to the Advanced tab, and we're going to need to disable, go to the LAN setup, and we're going to disable the DHCP server. Because otherwise you're going to have two routers trying to give everyone an IP address, and it's not going to work. We're also going to change this router's IP address to something that probably hasn't been used yet, so I'm just going to do 192.168.3.1 and apply. Alright, now we're going to plug an Ethernet cord into this router. We're going to make sure that we don't plug into the WAN port, which is yellow there. We have to plug into one of these LAN ports. Now we've got internet. So anyways, that's how you do home networking. Make sure, of course, that your router downstairs or whatever is capable of gigabit speeds or higher. Otherwise, this is all for moot. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.